Expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something that may sound simple, but holds great weight. When was the last time you truly sat with yourself, in stillness, and asked, am I living with full awareness? A trained mind is the most powerful tool a human being can possess. It is not the absence of thoughts that brings peace, but the ability to navigate them without getting lost. The untrained mind jumps from one worry to the next, constantly distracted by noise, fear, and external expectations. It reacts to everything, takes offense easily, and seeks pleasure without considering consequence. But a trained mind learns to respond rather than react. It creates a space between the stimulus and the response, expectations, allowing wisdom to guide action instead of impulse. Training the mind begins with awareness. Most people live their lives on autopilot, expectations, unaware of how deeply they are influenced by habits, environment, and internal narratives. By cultivating awareness, expectations, we begin to notice the patterns that shape our thoughts and emotions. We begin to see that not every thought deserves our attention. Not every emotion requires our reaction. A trained mind develops this distance, not as avoidance, but as a place of calm observation, where clarity lives. From this space, choices become conscious, rather than compulsive. Clarity is not achieved through information overload, but through mental discipline. In a world that glorifies multitasking and speed, the mind becomes fragmented. It jumps between screens, worries, desires, and opinions. A trained mind does the opposite. It slows down, focuses, and sharpens. It learns the art of concentration, the ability to direct attention fully to one task, one breath, one moment. And in that focus, clarity is born. It is the clarity that lets you see what matters and what doesn't. Expectation. It is the clarity that reveals your own strengths, your own wounds, your path forward. Meditation, breathing, exhalations, and mindful living are all tools to train the mind, but they are only effective when practiced consistently. A trained mind is not the result of a single breakthrough moment, but the product of small, daily acts of awareness. It is the discipline to sit in silence, expectations, to watch your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky, and to not chase after everyone. It is the courage to face discomfort without running, and to embrace stillness without fear. With training, the mind becomes a servant, not a master. Expectations. It supports your vision instead of clouding it. It lets you face challenges without panic, to stay grounded when others waver. Exhalations. And to lead yourself through uncertainty. The trained mind does not eliminate difficulty. It transforms your relationship with it. You stop seeing life as a series of problems to solve, and begin to see it as a field to train your awareness. Every moment becomes a lesson. Every challenge a sharpening stone. Every day a new opportunity to align your thoughts with your values. Inner clarity is the reward for mental discipline. Expectations. It is the ability to see yourself and the world without distortion. It frees you from the prison of overthinking, and allows you to experience life directly, with presence and intention. A trained mind does not seek escape. It seeks understanding, and through understanding, you reclaim your power. Your body is not just flesh, muscle, and bone. It is the vessel that carries your will, your discipline, and your presence through the world. Every thought, every decision, and every dream must pass through it to become real. Without a strong and capable body, expectations, even the clearest mind or the most awakened soul struggles to express itself. The body is the ground beneath all higher practices. It is your foundation, and when it is neglected, everything else becomes unstable. Most people only notice their bodies when something goes wrong, when there is pain, illness, or fatigue. But the body speaks long before it breaks. It whispers through posture, through energy levels, through breath. Expectations. It tells you when you are out of balance, when you are carrying too much stress, when your actions are out of alignment with your needs. Expectations. The problem is not that the body fails, it's that we stop listening. Honoring the body begins with awareness. Expectations. To feel the tension in your shoulders is to notice the weight of unspoken thoughts. To feel fatigue is to recognize a lack of rest or nourishment. Awareness brings responsibility, and responsibility brings strength. A disciplined body supports a disciplined mind. When you rise early, move intentionally, eat consciously, and rest with purpose, your body becomes a partner in your growth. The very act of moving your body with control and consistency, through training, stretching, walking, or breathing, shapes your character. It builds endurance not just physically, but mentally. Pushing through discomfort, repetition, and resistance teaches you to persist, to stay present, and to stay true to your path, even when it's hard. The lessons you learn on the mat, on the track, or in stillness carry over into your daily life. Strength is not just about lifting heavy or running fast. True strength lies in how you carry yourself. It's in the way you walk, expectations, the way you breathe under pressure, the way you maintain your posture in the face of stress. A weak body leads to a scattered presence. A strong body commands attention. Not through force, but through groundedness. You don't need to prove anything when your energy speaks for itself. You become centered, balanced, and stable. Others feel it, and more importantly, so do you. Taking care of the body is an act of respect, not vanity, not obsession, respect. You respect yourself enough to eat well, to hydrate, to rest, to move, and to pause when needed. You don't punish the body, expectations. You train it. You don't ignore its signals, you listen. Because this body is not replaceable. It is the home you live in for the rest of your life. Every stretch, every deep breath, every drop of sweat is a reminder that you are alive and capable of growth. When the body is strong, it becomes a mirror of your inner state. It reflects discipline, presence, and purpose. It anchors you to the moment and supports the weight of your decisions. With every step you take in awareness, you plant yourself deeper into the reality of now. The soul does not shout, it does not demand, and it does not compete with the chaos of the world. It waits in silence, calm and steady, always present but often unheard. In a world filled with noise, distraction, and urgency, the soul is easy to overlook. Yet it is the very essence of who you are, the quiet intelligence beneath your identity, your emotions, and your ambitions, expectations. When the mind races and the body moves without awareness, the voice of the soul fades into the background. But when you become still, when you withdraw from the constant need to respond, achieve, and explain, that is when the soul begins to speak. Expectations. To hear the soul requires a different kind of listening. It is not the listening used in conversation, nor the listening used to analyze or plan. Expectations. It is the kind of listening that happens in deep silence, when you sit with yourself without judgment, without distraction, and without the need to be anywhere else. In that space, you begin to sense a presence within you that is unchanging. It is not defined by your past, your roles, or your experiences. It simply exists, timeless and complete, waiting for you to notice. The soul speaks through intuition, through feeling, expectations, through the subtle pull of what is right for you, not what is convenient, or what is popular, but what is aligned with your inner truth. Expectations. It guides you not with loud instructions, but with gentle nudges and deep knowing. It does not seek attention or validation. Expectations. It only seeks to remind you of what you already know, what you've always known beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. When you ignore this voice, life feels disconnected. You may achieve success, gain recognition, or fulfill every expectation others place on you. But something feels empty. Expectations. That emptiness is the absence of alignment. It is the soul's way of reminding you that outer accomplishments mean little without inner harmony. Expectations. But when you return to the silence, when you allow space for reflection, the soul begins to guide you back to yourself. It tells you what to release. It reveals what truly matters. And it offers a peace that cannot be found through external means. Connecting with the soul is not about escaping the world, but about returning to it with deeper clarity and intention. Silence is not a retreat, it is a recalibration. Expectations. It is where you remember who you are when everything else is stripped away. This connection does not require special rituals or distant journeys. It only requires your presence. A walk in nature, a moment of stillness before sleep, a conscious breath in the middle of the day. These are the doorways. The more you step into them, the louder the soul becomes, not in volume, but in certainty. In silence you do not become less, you become more. You do not lose the world, you gain yourself. And in finding yourself, expectations, you begin to live not from reaction, but from truth. That truth is the voice of the soul, and it has been waiting for you all along. The mind, body, and soul are not separate layers stacked upon one another, but expressions of the same essence. They move together, influence each other, and reflect one another in ways most people never pause to recognize. When you are mentally stressed, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your posture changes. When your body is neglected, the mind grows restless, unfocused, and sluggish. When your soul is ignored, both the mind and body may function, but without depth, without meaning, without a sense of purpose. This is the silent suffering that comes from living in fragments, when each part of you is moving in a different direction, unaware of the others. To understand that mind, body, and soul are one is to begin seeing life differently. It means realizing that a thought is not just mental. It is energetic. It travels through your nervous system, impacts your hormones, shifts your emotions, and echoes through your actions. It means realizing that movement is not just physical. It affects your clarity, your emotions, your sense of being alive. A walk taken in mindfulness can calm the mind and awaken the soul. A breath taken with full attention can bridge the gap between anxiety and peace. A single moment of presence has the power to unify what has long been divided. True alignment begins when you no longer treat your mind, body, or soul as separate problems to fix. Instead, you begin to work with your whole being. You no longer train the body just for appearance, but as a way to sharpen your mind and discipline your spirit. You no longer calm the mind just to escape stress, but to create space for the soul to speak. You no longer seek spiritual growth as an abstract concept, but as a lived experience grounded in physical awareness and mental clarity. Living in unity requires attention. It requires you to listen to the tightness in your muscles, the stories in your head, the quiet pull of your deeper self. It requires slowing down, not to become passive, but to become deliberate. Every movement becomes a reflection of your inner state. Every thought becomes an opportunity to purify intention. Every silence becomes a chance to feel what words cannot express. In this way, even the simplest act, stretching, breathing, walking, becomes sacred, because it is done in full awareness, in full presence, in full alignment with all parts of who you are. Most people seek balance by trying to manage each area of life separately. Health in one box, work in another, spirituality in a third. But true balance is found not in managing separation, but in realizing unity. When your thoughts support your physical health, when your actions reflect your values, when your presence deepens your purpose, you become whole. And in that wholeness you discover strength, peace, and clarity that cannot be shaken by the world outside you. Because the strongest force comes not from any one part, but from the harmony of all three moving as one. Discipline is not about force or control. It is about consistency, clarity, and conscious repetition. It is the bridge between desire and fulfillment, between potential and reality. Many people dream, wish and plan, but without discipline, those dreams remain only ideas, expectations. Discipline is the quiet power that transforms vision into action and action into transformation. It does not shout or demand attention, yet it is the foundation upon which all self-mastery is built. Without discipline, the mind drifts, the body weakens, and the soul loses direction. Self-mastery means becoming the authority over your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Expectations, it means choosing your response instead of being ruled by your impulses. Expectations, this ability does not arise suddenly or by chance. It is cultivated through discipline. Expectations, when you wake up every morning and return to your practice, whether it's movement, meditation, breathwork, or focused intention, you are not just building a habit. You are shaping your character. Each act of discipline is like a drop of water carving stone. On its own it may seem small, but over time it forms something unshakable. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about returning. It is about showing up even when motivation fades, when results are not immediate, and when no one is watching. Expectations, it is in those moments that real strength is forged. Many people act when conditions are ideal, but self-mastery requires action when they are not. To rise when you are tired, to focus when you are distracted, to move when your emotions beg you to stop. This is where discipline reveals its value. Expectations, it sharpens your will and teaches you that freedom is not the absence of structure, but the ability to create your own. Through discipline, the mind becomes focused. It no longer chases every thought or falls victim to every emotion. It learns to pause, to breathe, and to act with clarity. The body too benefits from discipline. It becomes resilient, grounded, and alert. It learns to endure the discomfort without collapse and to express power with precision. The soul, often the quietest part, begins to shine more clearly when the noise of chaos is removed. With discipline, space is created for stillness, for purpose, expectations, and for deeper connection with what truly matters. Discipline also teaches humility. Every day you return to the same practice, expectations. You are reminded that growth is not instant. You are reminded that mastery is not a destination but a continuous path. There is always more to refine, expectations, more to observe, more to align. This realization keeps you grounded. It protects you from arrogance and strengthens your patience. Discipline does not offer shortcuts. It offers depth. It asks you to trade ease for meaning, comfort for clarity, and distraction for presence. In a world of shortcuts and quick gratification, discipline is rare. But those who walk the disciplined path walk towards self-respect, inner stability, expectations, and authentic power. They are not controlled by the outside world because they have learned to govern their inner world. And through that governance, they become unshakable. There is a quiet truth that many forget while chasing success, approval, or meaning in the external world. Everything you seek already exists within you, but in the noise of daily life, that truth becomes buried under obligations, distractions, and expectations. Expectations. You begin to believe that happiness lies somewhere out there, that peace must be earned through constant doing. Expectations. And that purpose is something to be found rather than remembered. Slowly, without even realizing it, you drift further from your inner self. Expectations. You start to feel scattered, empty, or disconnected, not because something is missing, but because you have stepped away from your own center. Expectations. The call to return to yourself is not a retreat from life, but a reconnection with the source of life within you. Returning to yourself begins with presence. Expectations. It is the simple, yet profound act of becoming aware of your breath, your body, your thoughts, and your emotions without judgment. Expectations. It means allowing yourself to feel what is truly there, not what you wish were there or what you think should be there. Expectations. It is in this honesty that healing begins. When you meet yourself with compassion instead of criticism, with curiosity instead of fear. Expectations. You begin to unlock the parts of you that have been hidden or forgotten. Expectations. You no longer seek validation from the outside because you remember your worth does not depend on anyone else's recognition. To return to yourself is to recognize the moments you betrayed your inner voice to fit into someone else's story. Expectations. It is to acknowledge the times you silenced your truth for comfort, approval, or security. And it is to gently call back all those parts of you that were left behind. Your courage, your innocence, your intuition, your dreams. This return is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It happens in silence, in solitude, in moments of reflection. Expectations. It happens when you choose stillness over distraction, truth over image, and authenticity over performance. As you return to yourself, the mind begins to quiet. The body softens, the soul rises. The separation between who you are and who you are trying to be dissolves. You no longer need to wear masks or carry the weight of roles that no longer fit. You begin to feel whole, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer divided within. Your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your values begin to align. That alignment is holiness. It is peace. It is strength. Wholeness is not about being complete in the eyes of others. It is about being real in the presence of yourself. It is about living in harmony with your inner truth, regardless of the noise around you. When you return to yourself, you stop running. You stop hiding expectations. You stop needing life to look a certain way in order to feel okay. You remember that what you were seeking outside was always quietly waiting for you within. In that moment, you don't just find yourself. You come home.